Yes.
Meghan Markle has been voted the most narcissistic member of the royal family. Pete, it's not a difficult one.
It's not a difficult one.
Is it true or false?
I always feel like you give me the easy ones, Andre, but the one thing that when she became part of the royal family, she never got over was that she will never be number one.
Yes.
She will never be the most
She's
important
number
person.
two.
She's not even number two.
Very much a number two.
Very much a number two.
But
And I
Pete,
think that's the thing that she never got over.
Pete, here's the fundamental question, and I'm going to throw to Pearl in a second on this, but is her issue that Hollywood and royalty are two different things, and she just never understood that?
Yeah, I think that's bang on, and she never understood it. But more importantly, she
was never in Hollywood.
Well, yeah,
was
but
she
she never really wanted to understand why the British royal family behaved in the way that they did. And I mean, there was a story that she never even learned the words to the national anthem. No. I mean, if you're not even going to bother doing what is considered like the most basic thing, you know, you're never going to fit in.
But hang on. Isn't the American national anthem, Pearl, literally a song about us blowing up their flag and the remnants of it still existing the day after?
Hey, let's not talk about it.
On the serious note, Pearl, we have a lot of American viewers and we love our American friends. Obviously, Britain likes to think of itself as the biggest ally of America, less so with Biden, but nevertheless, are Americans sick of this woman? Because we really hope they are.
I mean, Americans don't even like her.
No.
I wouldn't say in America that her reputation is great, you know? And I thought it was pretty disrespectful. Like, I think if you're gonna marry into a family, you should adapt to their cultures, adapt to their tradition. And I just think she wanted to do what she wanted to do, and she got a beta husband that listened to her.
Yeah. I've got to be honest with you, all the granddaughters always, and indeed the daughters, always curtsied to the Queen on their wedding day. She didn't. Yeah. Now, I appreciate there's a detail that perhaps you don't know. When Americans get knighthoods, they don't kneel down for historic reasons of republicanism. But she was literally marrying the grandson. You think, come on, love, have some respect.
Well, you know, as someone that's, you know, came from America to the US, and I've lived all across the world. Like, I lived in Germany, I've been to India for an extended period of time. I think it's important to adapt to the culture that you're in. I don't like it. I've seen Americans do this where we come somewhere else and expect them to adapt to our culture, which I think that's a bit
Mind you, our equivalent of that is Benidorm.
Literally just about to say that.
For those American viewers, think Cancun.
Yeah.
But do you think she's going to divorce Harry and run for American
president?
Yeah.
I don't know if she'll run for president or anything.
She's going to try.
But I think that's doomed to fail. I mean, forever is a long time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, odds are most people will divorce. Most people, or they won't get married to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, the average marriage is 8 years.
But why are people so willing to just marry this person and jump away? And in terms of her, I mean, you know, they've been through so much. Surely that must push them a bit together. So I'm grasping at straws here, if I'm being totally honest.
You know, I never wish divorce. I just predict. And if I was a betting woman, I would bet that will not work out. Yes. So, I can't imagine doing hit pieces on someone's family really equates to a long, happy marriage.
No. So Lois, just before we finish this off, would you marry a ginger?
Depends how much he was worth.
Hey, come on.
I've just got back. I've been lucky enough to spend the last couple of days as a guest with Lady Colin Campbell at her Castle Goring in Sussex. And she is obviously the royal commentator, and she is not a big fan of Meghan Markle.
I thought she was going to say she wasn't a big fan of ginger.
No.
Or of you.
Well, I mean, but apparently it is true that the Queen described her as that wicked, wicked girl. And also, you know, that she genuinely believed, a bit like, you know, the 1930s predecessors, that the globalists, like the Nazis, were going to put her and Harry in as king and queen. And Bill and Melinda Gates funded them initially when they went to Canada, but I can exclusively reveal, I found this out yesterday, they've dropped them. They've dropped them financially.
Oh, come on.
It's in the new book that's coming out, Lady Colin Campbell's book.
You can exclusively reveal something you heard down the pub with Lady Colin Campbell. That is not an exclusive. That is not an exclusive.
This is not from down the pub. This is, you know, this is from 1 or 2 degrees separation. But yeah, they've been dropped by the globalists. The globalists have dropped them.
Okay, well, so's everybody else.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't even know why I'm bothering to ask that question, but okay.
I'm rather insulted that you're asking me the question.
Let's go through the motions, Pete, and pretend that we don't know the answer to the following question. Has Meghan Markle been voted the most narcissistic member of the royal family? Of course she has, Pete.
It's true.
It's absolutely true.
I think that's that one, actually.
Pearl, on the subject of divorces. Marriage rates have dropped below 50% for the first time ever. Is it true or is it false?
True.
No, well, you've got to expand on it, Pearl. Pearl, let me just let you into the rules
sorry.
of the show. Let me let you know.
I thought it was true or false.
No,
It is.
we're only pretending to do the quiz. It's what's
I want to get credit where credit's due. I knew it.
it's what's called, and we'll teach you a little bit here,
All right.
a broadcasting device to give us an excuse to talk about current affairs.
okay.
So Pearl, with that in mind, marriage rates have dropped below 50% for the first time. Is that true or false?
Well, it's true. But, you know, it's because the cost of marriage is too high.
Yeah.
And men aren't going to want to sign up when, you know, women aren't choosing to get married. You know, we have the most option to get married young at 22. Women aren't choosing to do that. So the age of first marriage is going up and up and up. And, you know, the cost is getting too high. I mean, divorces are known to be expensive.
Yes.
The average marriage is 8 years. Women file 70 to 80% of the time. You know, men are looking at the market and just saying the juice ain't worth the squeeze.
Do you know something? I had a friend of mine who works a clerk in a divorce lawyer's office, and this woman walks in. She goes, "Look, me and my husband have just fallen out of love. He's going to keep the house abroad. I'm going to keep the house in the UK. We just need you to do all the paperwork." And the bloke went, "Yeah, no problem." Wrote down. And he passed a note to my mate which said, "Watch and learn." And then he went, "But before you go, let me just say one thing to you. If I was your husband, I'd never let you go." And then the tears all came. And he said, 5 hours later, this woman wants to rip the bloke to pieces. and this divorce lawyer made like £100,000 off it. It should have been like a 400 quid job.
Yeah, well, on top of that, many, you know, there's many accusations of abuse in these courts. So, you know, and the reason is because you don't need evidence in family court.
Yeah.
So it's based on a balance of probabilities, meaning it's more likely something happened than it didn't. And so this is a real risk for men.
Yeah.
Like
Do
they
you know
have
my-
to
do you
look
know-
at this market.
My brother and my uncle both got divorced by their wives, different wives, obviously. They both got divorced by their
Glad
wives.
to hear that.
And the courts rejected it as unreasonable behaviour. And they said that the behaviour that had been cited was not unreasonable. And unbelievably, what both of them then had to do was divorce their wives on the basis that falsely claiming unreasonable behaviour is in of itself unreasonable
unreasonable.
behaviour. They divorced them on that basis.
But you don't need to do that.
But
now.
Pearl, would you get married?
Yeah, I think a prenup, but yeah. I would get married, yeah.
A bit dangerous though, Lois, in Britain. Prenups, they don't always work.
No,
I don't know why I've asked you.
Why would you get married if you were going to have a prenup? What would be the point?
Well, the problem is, and I'm being deadly
I mean,
serious.
obviously, if I had loads of my own money, then
I'm being deadly serious with about my younger brother who read, I can't believe he did this, read the terms and conditions of British marriage and said no sensible man would sign it.
Nobody would sign a contract. Like, if we did a business partnership and I was paid to leave, I'm also paid to claim you're an abuser, I'm also paid to steal your house, I'm also paid to steal your children. I mean, nobody would sign up.
No.
Yet, you know, feminists will shame men into not wanting to get married anymore.
Yeah, but just on, and I completely agree with everything that's been said, but there's another side of this as well, that a lot of couples are actually living together and choosing not to get married purely because of the cost of getting married.
Yes.
According to a survey that was released a couple of weeks ago, in 2024, the average cost of a UK wedding is £20,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is absolutely astounding. The wedding industry is worth millions in this country. So yeah, so of course people are in the cost of living crisis as we live right now.
But it's because women want a wedding, they don't want to be a wife.
Wife,
And
that's so
the
true.
problem.
Yeah.
But Pearl, if I go on my phone to a well-known taxi app and go and get the most expensive car to, 3 miles, it'll cost me about 25 quid.
Yeah.
If I phone them up and say it's a wedding, they'll charge me 1,000.
Yeah.
It's just absolute madness.
Yeah.
Or the other thing that one of my relatives had, listen to this, for a piece of absolute junk, 500 quid this, chimney sweep, on a bike,
Yeah.
bring you a piece of coal for good luck.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
lovely.
500 quid. I'll tell you what, he was the lucky one.
I'm gonna say, you're talking about stealing a living.
Absolutely. I wouldn't mind where I'm from. Coal's just really
I was
easy
gonna
to get
say,
on.
yeah, you can pick
Okay,
it up on the floor.
Pearl, have marriage rates dropped below 50%? Is it true or false?
True.
It's absolutely true. Okay, Lois.
Yes.
This question has been a matter of dispute in the office. But okay.
Why have I got this question?
Okay. What we're going to do is I'm going to ask you for the answer that's down on the sheet of paper.
Okay.
Iceland has been criticised for replacing the Christian cross on a hot cross bun with ticks instead. Not those sorts of ticks. Now, I don't know whether this is true, but there have been pictures in almost every newspaper. So have Iceland decided that they're going to go woke? And by the way, remember, all of these supermarkets stopped baking croissants in a crescent shape because it's anti-Islamic officially. So, yeah, that's been done before.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then there's two tiers to this question. So, yeah, okay. Iceland did say that that's what they had done, that they had replaced the hot cross bun and with the tick and all of that jazz. But then what they did was they got all of the media from all the right-wing commentators and the people saying this is disgusting. I was one of them actually, quite big. And then they said, oh, actually, it was a joke. It wasn't real. It was, oh my God. I don't eat cut. What the hell are you doing?
No, do Pete again.
Not
Do
in this
Pete.
jacket.
It's the woke wabbit is coming
don't
round
touch me with it.
feeding people hot cross buns. But I have to say, Pete, you're in the cake jacket, so you've got to have it in the
he's
face.
in the cake jacket.
I actually do like hot cross buns as well.
But on the serious note,
Actually,
Pete,
that's very nice.
on the serious note, we have seen plenty of politically correct products coming out, and I have to say, I've been fruited. Pete, just keep talking.
All right, okay, yeah. So, yeah, you're all right. We've seen a lot of these kind of supermarkets, a lot of big companies kind of go down this more woke line. So, basically what Iceland did is he did a big survey of about 2,000 people to say, would you buy a hot cross bun with a cross on it, or would you like one with a tick on it? And about a fifth of people said that they preferred one with a tick rather than a cross. The thing you have to remember is that the guy who owns Iceland used to be a Tory donor, ran to be a candidate.
Richard Walker,
that's his name. Ran to be a Tory candidate, got rejected, God knows how, given the standard that we've got at the moment.
Well, maybe he was an actual conservative.
Yeah, and then hot skipped and jumped his way into the Labour Party.
Oh, right, okay.
And all of this has just been a kind of PR thing to kind of embarrass people
school.
like Lee Anderson and Jacob Rees-Mogg,
Right,
who
okay.
jumped on this in quite some froth.
Is it the Richard wants a peerage story?
Yes, it kind of is, but it's quite funny because of this story, the sale of hot cross buns in Iceland went up by 134%.
Wow.
So, but what this does tell you is that people genuinely do care about this stuff. Like, and, you know, it's Richard Walker did it as a way to kind of embarrass people, but I think he's kind of embarrassed himself in a way.
But Pearl, let me ask you this question then. Aren't we then in a situation? Why are we having a food fight in the studio? Right. Richard, let's try and hold this together, right? So, Pearl, is the problem here that we've got all these big businesses trying to shove woke stuff down our throats, almost literally, whereas actually most people are not in favour of it? You know, people do want to maintain a Christian society.
I think the problem's women.
Go on.
Yeah, because,
surprise.
Who's asking for this woke stuff?
Yeah.
It's not men.
No, you're right.
You're right there.
It's women, and women make 70 to 80% of consumer buying decisions. So why is this stuff shoved down our throat? Because the women want it.
They're not giving it any thought whatsoever. That's the problem. It's just about being nice and being kind and not actually looking at the whole
Hang on, you meant to be...
I think you're right.
And that's what women are like.
Well,
they don't look at the whole picture, most of them.
And the first thing women do is they change the definition and confuse, because men automatically organize themselves in competence hierarchies, where women, on the other hand, it's more communal. Yeah. So that's why you see, like, the first thing I always see women do is change the definition. So, for example, gender.
Yeah.
You know, what is a woman? First thing women do. Oh, I don't know. You know?
Yeah.
Same thing with being,
flaky.
but like who's fat, you know?
I think I made a little video about that. But Lois, do you agree with Pearl that women are to blame for a lot of this? Because let's be honest, how many blokes go and buy hot cross buns? Sure.
No, I mean, absolutely right. And if you look at the way that women vote in America, young, unmarried women are more likely to be voting for these woke policies, the Democrats, all of that kind of stuff. It's because, you know, they haven't got any skin in the game. When they get married, they've got some skin in the game. They've got kids. They've got stuff to lose. But until then, they're extremely...
I saved you.
The idea of turning a croissant into an Islamic crescent. So why can't we do a crescent cross bun or something like that?
A crescent cross bun to celebrate Ramadan and Lent at the same time.
Exactly.
I mean, I have to say, on the issue of our society changing, I have no problem with celebrating Ramadan until it was pointed out that we don't have Easter stuff up in London.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
No, we
no.
don't.
It's Richard Walker from Iceland. he says he wants to create a crescent croissant and he's desperate for a peerage from Keir Starmer. Congratulations. Has Iceland been criticised for replacing Christian symbols on hot cross buns with a tick? Is it true or is it false?
False.
On here, even though it's wrong, it says it's true.
Oh,
so it's true.
Oh, dear. Okay.
That was The Woke That Was continues after the break. Welcome back to That Was The Woke That Was.
Pete, the Church of England is hiring deconstructing whiteness officers.
Oh, no.
Is it true or is it false?
Sadly, I know this to be true. This is a part of the Racial Justice Unit, which sounds like the worst Marvel film yet. And it's being put together by, it's about 11 people on this committee, and it's about pulling apart the inherent privileges of whiteness within the Church of England, despite the fact that within the Anglican communion, as it's called, 80% of people who are Anglican are actually black and conservative.
Yes,
No one
yes.
ever talks about that bit, do they? But
So hang on. Are you saying to me, Pete, that having the deconstructing whiteness officer is in of itself racist?
It is. It's a racist position. It's one of these positions, yet again, that being white is inherently bad. And I just think it's categorical nonsense. There's a great phrase that was given by one of the reverends at the Church of England, said that they've drank the Kool-Aid of the critical race theory. And I think that's a perfect way of doing it. The Church of England has got itself into so much trouble recently. And at some point, Justin Welby, the former oil executive, which I feel the need to point out.
Yeah,
every
absolutely.
time.
No, Pete, let's do it properly. Former oil executive, apparently interesting God.
Yes,
Decides to retire after making a load of money.
Yeah.
And then he lives in his £1 billion house with his personal library, which cost how much?
£24 million.
27 million.
27
He
million,
didn't get
sorry.
the bonus point.
Nearly. I was close, leave me alone.
And of course, he goes on about us paying more tax, tax-exempt status.
Tax-exempt status. And at some point, he's got to resign. And what I found hilarious was in 2013, he called the Church of England institutionally racist. Now, because he's trying to get some kind of favour back, he said that this position is a little ridiculous in and of itself. It's like, well, get rid of it. Yeah, get rid of it. I don't understand. It's just like, you can't say that the position's ridiculous. When you're in charge of the organisation, get rid of the position.
Pearl,
it's ridiculous.
This has been a great cultural export from the United States of America, hasn't it? All of this idea of racial intolerance. I mean, I saw somebody spit in the face of a police officer in Downing Street for shooting black people in Alabama. And you think, but he's from bloody Romford. Madness. But when I grew up, when I was a kid, this whole idea of race being the most important political issue was not the case. It was true in America. Do you find this export is a good thing or a bad thing?
I would say it's a bad thing.
That surprised me, Pearl.
And you know what? We're talking about wokeness in the church, right? I gotta go back to it's women. Because, now they're pandering to women because most church donations come from women.
Is that right?
So they have to give the women what they want.
Yeah, and
men don't necessarily.
Yeah, but do women want their sons to be accused of being racist and sex criminals?
They don't think that far ahead.
Exactly.
No.
That's the problem.
It's interesting you say that, Pearl, because the main advocate of this position is a woman.
It's a woman.
It's a woman who's pushed for this position to be a
Well,
thing.
but it is true to say that religious folk were quite against slavery at the time. I mean, it's not as if, the Church of England was licking its lips, but it's exactly the same story as Edward Colston, not a slave trader. A man who, remember, had his statue pulled down. He was a cloth seller in the City of London, did that much work, they made him Deputy Governor of the Royal Africa Company, and that's why he's a slave trader.
And Britain too. They policed the waters to
That's
make
right.
sure
Right,
slavery.
amazing,
They were very into they were very important in stopping the slave trade.
I've got to
and
be
they didn't really have a skin in the game because they weren't like slavery was much more prevalent in America.
I've got to say, there's a brilliant scene in the film Amistad where they find the Lomboko slave camp and blow it up. It's absolutely brilliant. He goes, to the Secretary of State of the United States of America, you're right, the slave fortress in Sierra Leone does not exist. Then they blew it up. It was absolutely brilliant.
No, but it's funny you bring that up because hasn't the Church of England got embroiled in the kind of reparations
They have.
story
They have.
about apparently they owe billions, apparently. But my question with all this reparation stuff is, who are they giving the money to?
That's absolutely
I
right.
don't know,
Absolutely right.
nobody's ever been able to really answer that question. They say, oh, it's community groups. Well, which communities?
Well, I
which
think the
groups are they
Jews are
giving
due
it
a
to?
payout from Egypt.
Well, you know, I think they're owed a lot of money from a lot of people. if
Yeah,
I'm being brutally
absolutely.
honest.
I have to say, even that was incredibly difficult after the Holocaust to
Yeah.
work out who owned the property,
Yeah.
and the record still existed. Admittedly, a lot of people had been killed. The idea that somebody would pay back reparations, but the other thing is, we're all descended from slaves,
Yeah.
Yeah, we
right?
are.
The
Right.
serfdom that existed.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, the other thing is, literally, slave is a version of the word Slav,
Slav.
Yeah,
isn't
Slav.
it?
That's right.
Anyhow, Peter, has the Church of England decided to?
Yeah.
Is it true or is it false?
It's the Church of England, so of course it's true.
Absolutely true.
That's the story.
Yeah, I know. Happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter.
Okay, Pearl, I don't think you're going to find this one difficult. The YouTube sensation, Pearl Davis, has claimed that
I like
women,
her.
the YouTube sensation that is Pearl Davis, has said that women should not be allowed to vote. Is it true or is it false?
Well, I think you have to have some skin in the game when
Right.
it comes to voting, right?
Right.
I don't think it's fair. You know, there's more women than men.
Right.
Meaning that when someone's running for office, they have to think about women in order to get things passed. We kind of look at the
Bill
last
Clinton.
100 years.
Yeah.
we look at the last 100 years, and most countries have gone more woke.
Right.
And you start to think, why is that? Again, because it's catering to the female imperative, right? Why is it fair that women spend more money than we make?
Right.
We do the minority of the infrastructure jobs. So meaning, you know, the jobs that actually make the infrastructure run, building the buildings,
Real
working,
jobs,
yeah, the real
job.
you know, and we pay the minority of the taxes and we're the majority of the benefits. I don't think that's fair. Now, I'm open to suggestions. I've also heard people say we should maybe get half a vote. Maybe it's just net taxpayers. There's different
Maybe
ways.
30 and over or married or something.
Yeah, there's different. Well,
Yeah.
marriages disappear.
I think
no
all
one's
you
gonna
do-
vote.
Maybe that might make them get married.
I think all you do, there's a very simple solution, and this is going to go mad. All you do is you just give people hundreds or thousands of votes, one vote per pound of tax you pay. And then you go into your voting machine, you go, there we go. In my case, 4. But you could say, well, okay, Bob Jones has 8 million votes because he pays £8 million in tax.
And the thing is, I look for patterns and trends. That's why I keep going back to the women thing. Again, it doesn't mean all women, but we have to
Most
talk
of
about
them.
the majority. And what I've found is that when women get power, we're just not overly good with it.
No, and we're
You know-
very cruel to other women. We could,
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
interesting
yeah.
you say
Very-
that, Lois,
yeah,
because
very
I
cool.
always feel the need to point out that one of the reasons that Hillary Clinton never became president was actually the female vote.
Yeah.
Is that the women just didn't respect her in
Well,
any way.
even women.
It's the ghost of Margaret Thatcher.
well, she didn't like
What's-
women either.
What's that, Margaret? She says, actually, the proof of the pudding's in the eating. And what is great is, what with Theresa May and Liz Truss, there's proof that being a woman Prime Minister doesn't make you any better or
better,
worse
yeah.
than anybody else. Because there was one good Maggie and 2 duds.
Yeah, and you guys may maybe correct me on this because I'm not super knowledgeable on British politics and
Yeah.
history. But didn't she give up like a good amount of power from the throne?
Who? The Queen?
Margaret Thatcher, didn't she? Am I wrong?
I've got no idea what you're talking about. I'll tell you what
Like
we're going to...
I swore she gave up a lot of political power, but I could be wrong.
She did, this is the thing. Margaret Thatcher compromised a lot more than people ever give her credit.
Yes.
It's always supposed to be like this kind of stalwart leader. Didn't compromise.
She had a
That's
good
not
team
really true.
around her. She had
but it was
Willie
always
around
a
her.
very male-dominated team. That was always the thing.
Male face. It was just her.
She didn't like fat people or beards.
Well, there you go.
She didn't like beards.
Yeah.
didn't.
My granddad always used to say, if my nan and I we did a vote and we both voted 2-1, he said, yeah, but you're only half a vote each.
Yeah.
So it's actually 1-1.
Yeah, his maths wasn't that good because that was a tie.
That's what I mean. No, but I mean, the thing with me, I mean, my brand of feminism, we talked about this upstairs, extends to me and my daughter, and that's pretty much it. I've never been given any sort of help or anything from any female bosses or anything in my life.
Yeah, but I used to think that only women were bitchy, and then I met 1 or 2 male presenters on this channel. Early breakfast.
You know, is there not a decent argument that could be made for allowing women to vote? You know, without women, realistically, society doesn't exist. I mean, you need because you need women to create children, and those children go on to...
Take out reproduction. How?
Well, okay, well, take out a man's strength, then what?
What is that? That's
well, what I'm saying. Well, exactly.
Because
but what I'm saying
if you take out reproduction for society functioning, society would function fine. If
No,
all
it
the
wouldn't.
women
It would totally cease to exist.
Look at Iceland. What
would totally
happened when
cease
the
to exist.
women striked?
No one noticed.
No, it's not about women striking. What I'm saying is, look at societies where men don't have access to reproduction. It sucks. Do you disagree?
Well, but
Sorry, was that a joke?
But reproduction is equal. It's women and men.
Is
need
it?
Each other
I thought women control reproduction, don't they?
Well, they control who gets to reproduce because of technology.
Well, exactly.
Because of technology that men invented.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
pre-technology, women still control.
Egg.
Pre-technology, women would still control who they slept with, ideally, at least. I mean, you know.
Not in some early.
Not in all cases.
I just want to clarify a couple of things.
Yeah.
You're not saying that that there's no point to like good mothers and stuff like that. There are lots of very good mothers around. You're just talking about statistics in terms of it being slightly higher in the early years of abuse. Is that what you're saying?
There are good mothers.
I don't get what that has to
have.
I don't get what that has to do with women voting.
Good mother. Yeah, I don't know which question.
Yeah.
I'm just interested. No, when you specifically talk about early years, I think women, obviously, mothers are extremely important in the early years. But you're talking specifically about statistics based on early years.
I think mothers are important. I think fathers are significantly more important, and the data supports that.
No, okay, right. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to leave that vibe, but I'm just going to ask for Pete for a one-word answer. Are women better than men, yes or no?
No comment.
Let me tell all of you one thing. I can settle that women are better than men. Can I tell you why?
Doing what?
Because whilst diamonds are a girl's best friend, a dog's a man's
Dog's
best
best
friend.
friend.
Now, I'd rather have diamonds than a dog. But anyhow,
I'd rather have a dog.
Pearl, has YouTube sensation Pearl Davis claimed that women should not be allowed to vote? Is it true or is it false?
True.
It's absolutely true.
Repeal the 19.
Okay, so don't.
I'm looking for these. Oh, I found another comment.
Right, Lois. I mean, I don't know why he's doing that. Right, Lois. Do you want some of that, Lois?
No. Put it in his mouth.
Okay, it's been in my mouth.
wasn't
Don't
gonna
worry about
catch
it. My
that.
mouth is clean. Lois.
If I believe that, I believe anything.
Indeed. Lois.
Yes.
Rio Cinema in East London
Yeah.
has refused to screen Eurovision if Israel is in the final. Is it true or is it false?
Oh, this is an absolute disgrace, especially with the history connected to the Jewish people and the East End of London. You would have thought that there would have been a bit more, I don't know, support and camaraderie for Israel. But then the East End is now the home of wokes. So, but I don't know if you saw Ollie Alexander's statement that he put out. Basically, he's been pressured by Owen Jones, Ollie Alexander, who's representing us at Eurovision, to pull out of Eurovision because Israel is going to be.
And he's the British entry. He's the you see that advert? That film?
No, he's very good, but I do like his music.
He's not very good, is he? He's an absolute communist.
There's a couple of his tunes that I like. But anyway, moving that aside, he obviously wants to stay in the competition.
Yeah.
So he's done a very vanilla statement. He has still called it occupied lands, which of course it isn't. It's Israel's. But then he's also said that the hostages should be released and he wants peace and everything. But there's a huge amount of pressure on Ollie Alexander at the moment
There is.
to pull out of Eurovision. So it's a bit of
I
bullying
have to
going
say,
on.
one of my favourite Eurovision entries was the year that Russia invaded Georgia. Georgia submitted an entry that was not allowed in the final. Yeah. It was about how they wanted to expel somebody from their party who was a gatecrasher that was no fun, that they called a Putin. And the chorus was, "We don't want a Putin, we're going to shoot him."
Yeah. So interestingly, it's funny you say that because Israel had to change the name of their act because it was originally October Rain, and in relation to the October 7th, so they were told to change the name of it. Okay, but one thing I will say
I have to say, named it after a genocide, though.
Yeah, I'm going to say, it's not
thing.
an unreasonable request because actually, to be fair, just about to make a point every time.
Don't talk with your mouth full. Well, I'll tell you what, Ollie Alexander, you can criticise away, but you're mates with Owen Jones.
But no,
you don't understand because you're not gay. You'll never live that down.
He'll never live that down.
You just don't understand because you're not gay. You're not gay, man. You're not gay.
But the one thing I will say is
And he lives with a cat. That's unacceptable for a man.
The European Broadcasting Union, who put together the Eurovision Song Contest, have actually condemned this move by the Rio Cinema. Because he said that Eurovision is not a political event. Right. It's not supposed to be political. And they've actually got rather annoyed with these groups that, I think it's Queers for Palestine who wrote to Alexander.
Queers for Palestine? I still can't
let's not go down that rabbit hole. But,
or Terror Tunnel.
Terror Tunnel.
Let's not go down
or indeed any hole.
But no, this is what I'm saying, is that they've actually condemned this move. And I rather respect them for this because it is really easy for these organisations to kind of kowtow and bend to this pressure. And for them to say, do you know what? No, this isn't the right thing to do. I think it's rather respectable.
They didn't let Zelensky speak last year because they said we don't have political speeches. But look, this whole boycott Israel thing, it's starting to get to a stage now where I think it's just racism because, Pearl, from what I can see, and I might be wrong, products that are being banned and people that are being banned are just basically anyone who's Jewish or has any Jewish connection. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a worry.
I don't really know too much about that conflict. Sorry.
So hang on a second. So your principal concern is about women. You're not worried about war. What about women in war?
Oh God help us. I think my opinion is women should not.
If there was World War III,
I think
should women fight?
No.
Oh God, no.
Why not?
Because no.
Well, I don't
want to, for a start.
But neither do I.
I know.
Go on,
you've got to.
I know that one problem, like why women can't go into the front lines, is because many men will protect them instead of
so.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Yeah, but you know.
So you think women on the front line are actively damaging to a military unit?
Yeah, and I don't think I don't really trust women to stay calm under pressure.
I just think you're the most right-wing person we've had so far, and we've had Viscount Monkton. Okay, but Lois has a theatre in East London said that it will not show the Eurovision Song Contest if Israel is still a part of it. Is that true or is it false?
Very sadly, it's true.
It's absolutely and unfortunately true!
That was The Woke That Was continues after the break. Welcome back to That Was The Woke That Was.
The Mayor of London. True.
Next question.
Okay. The Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has announced plans to introduce a new carbon tax on joggers.
Oh, well, first of all, let's not put it past him. But I don't think this is true. But what's quite concerning is that even now, Sadiq Khan is the front runner in a very comfortable position. The last polling I saw, he was on 52% of the vote. I think that's incredible, given the fact that I think London is an incredibly dangerous city to live in now. The city has gone to... to be fair, I've only lived in London for about 8 or 9 years now. And even in that time period, I've noticed the decline of standards and services, the decline of safety, the decline in pretty much every aspect of London life. And I put it down to the fact that there is no leadership and there is absolutely no accountability for when things go wrong. And that's what has annoyed me incredibly about the Mayor of London. He never takes accountability for his actions.
No.
But
actually, Pete, let's broaden this because I see local authorities right across the country coming up with these hobby horse projects and not actually serving the community. But You did say true. Let's ask you again. Is it true or false that Sadiq Khan is putting a carbon tax on joggers?
Oh, well, sadly, it wouldn't surprise me. It's not true yet, but this one's false.
It's absolutely false! Pearl, NHS staff have been asked if they identify as a grey romantic or abrosexual in a new survey.
Is that to do with custard?
Isn't abrosexual somebody who likes Aborigines? I don't know.
A grey romantic? Is that like when you...
Could it just
when
be a
you like-
randy old fart?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like old people?
Yeah.
Don't look at me.
Pearl, I can't believe in my ear I'm being told to ask you this question because I think we all know the answer. Pearl, how many genders are there?
2.
Yeah. Hey! And a half. that runner, what was her name?
Yeah.
But look, you know, with abrosexual, grey romantic, my worry about all these things, Pearl, is what it does to young people. Because young people in an impressionable stage of their life are just being force-fed all this garbage.
Well, going back to women, it's young women that are more left. You know, I think the young men are starting to wake up and realize this is BS. And if you look at, you know, the surveys of Gen Z, women are much more susceptible to propaganda.
Yes.
So, you know.
Are dating apps changing the level of power of young women?
Oh, yeah.
How?
I mean, yeah, because an 18-year-old graduates, or 19, 20, whatever, and she has the power to get hit up by celebrities. And in many, you know, get
Yeah, well,
thrown
she's
out.
met me. Hit up by
my God!
What's she doing? The woke rabbit is dropping water everywhere.
I think we need a female rabbit.
Well,
to spill it.
And you know,
Pete, pass that glass of
and
vodka. No, I'm only joking. It is water.
Actually, to dive into that even deeper, when women are given more choice, they actually automatically organize themselves into harems. So they share men. And dating apps like facilitate this because women are sharing like 5-10% of men on dating apps.
Yeah, okay,
So-
woke rabbit. I understand you know a lot about dating apps. Why do I have to say that? You know, I'm just depressed about this. Right, tell them about dating apps. I'm getting myself a glass of water.
I love dating. They empower women. They disempower young men, and it levels the playing field, and that's what I'm happy about.
So you love dating apps, do you?
Dating apps are grim.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, they're awful.
I mean,
Better in person.
he's kind of right where he says it empowers women.
Yeah.
It
because
does.
because women are at an advantage.
There's also
you
certain
know,
dating apps
yeah.
where if you match with people, the woman has to message first. Do you know, they do it on a security basis to like safety.
I just have to walk to the newsagent.
I like the idea of giving 90% of women all of the attention on these apps and disenfranchising young men. As I said, it's empowering. It's empowering.
And so that's
it's what
good,
we
is
need.
it?
Yeah, why not?
But also, aren't dating apps just judging you by looks alone? Which is no problem in my case, obviously.
Women always go for tall men, don't they, on dating apps? So
yeah.
all of that sort of
Yeah.
equality stuff goes out the
Oh,
window.
yeah.
Men that are 6 foot and over, they just get so many hits.
What about
Yeah,
blokes
it's
who are
not-
4 foot and under?
What is wrong with you?
Well, and none of this is about good or bad. It's just what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the number one way people are meeting under 30.
Yeah.
You know, women are sharing 5-10% of men. So the future is single
But if you-
motherhood.
but-
Buckle up.
What's the solution, Pearl?
But no, hang on a second, Pearl.
How?
No, I want to ask this question.
Yeah.
What would happen if your mum and dad told you that the way they met was by writing into a Lonely Hearts column in the newspaper? Now, you'd think they were mad. That's all dating apps are,
No,
aren't they?
that's right.
A Lonely Hearts
Column,
column?
yeah.
I don't.
It's pre-internet.
Yeah,
It used to be a thing at the back of the
Yeah.
newspaper. You'd put an ad in or you'd write in.
Yeah.
And you could always have what you're interested in. One of them was always smoking. Can you imagine? I'm looking
Long
for smoke.
walks
And
and
they're gonna say-
country
Well,
fires.
and actually, dating apps are declining slightly.
Yeah.
And Instagram, well, it's just a new form. Instagram is the number one. Like it's
Oh, right. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and other social media apps. So
But,
you know, it's just the way the world's going. He asked me, "What's the solution?" Right? You know, I'm kind of a happy pessimist. So I just say, you know, I think the future is kind of what we're seeing now, which is short marriages, if marriage at all. A lot of single mothers. You know, I can't really insert my morality on it because it doesn't change.
So
anything.
you're not necessarily campaigning. You're just saying, here it
Observing.
is.
Here it
This
is.
is what's happening.
Yeah. I think statistically most people will be single parents. So buckle up.
Okay, so Pearl, I mean, you couldn't get the bonus point because nobody knows what a grey romantic
even I know.
or
What is a
grey
abrosexual
Not even
is.
I know.
Do you know, I have a rule with these things. Just don't Google it. It'll just upset you.
No.
But anyway,
It'll come up in our search history.
yeah, that's right. Have NHS staff been told if they have been asked if they identify as a grey romantic or abrosexual? Is it true or is it false?
You know, I forgot the answer to this one, so I'm gonna say false, not true.
Sorry, now I just want to say something. Pearl, you pulled back the curtain far too much. I forgot the answer to this question. Right, almost as if you'd read all the questions in advance. Anyway, Pearl, you said it was false. It's absolutely true!
Oh, my God, no way. Oh, no.
So, Lois.
Yes.
Cadbury's has been accused of erasing Easter by advertising chocolate eggs as gesture eggs. Is it true or is it false?
Oh, it's just so awful. And apparently, Cadbury's have tried to disown it and say that it was just a particular store. I think it was like an outlet, Cadbury's outlet store that did it. But, you know, it looked pretty official, the packaging to me. So I think they might have tried to disown
it. They keep doing this, don't they? They keep jumping into these things, whether it be Dylan Mulvaney, whether it be Iceland, allegedly or otherwise. But they deliberately do it in order to generate publicity.
Yeah, but I think they've definitely shot themselves in the foot with this one. And I think the speed at which they disassociated themselves. I mean, the Iceland thing, he let it play out for a bit. He got all the right-wing commentators all fired up and then pulled back. But, yeah, no, I think that this was a mistake by Cadbury's. And, you know, people like their Easter eggs, people that don't go to church ever, or just at Christmas, you know, give Easter eggs to each other. People don't like this, especially with all the Ramadans and
Don't
stuff.
open it.
Pete,
Okay.
Yes.
do we believe that Jesus hatched from an egg made of chocolate,
Made of chocolate.
in Bourneville?
No, I know. You know, I'm not with the most overly religious person, but one thing I find quite interesting is, like you said, they jump into these situations with 2 feet, but it only ever seems to jump in one direction.
Yeah.
Like, it always seems to be the
And it's away
erasure
from
of
our
Christian
traditions.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so say, for example, here in London, we've got the issue of the Ramadan lights being on Oxford Street.
And I have to say, I thought to myself, originally, well, okay, we've got Ramadan lights, we've got Hanukkah lights. They weren't turned on, slightly oddly, but we've got Christmas lights. But during Lent and Easter, Ramadan has taken priority in a Christian country.
I know,
That's not acceptable.
I don't think it is. And what annoys me the most is too many people keep thinking this stuff is like, oh, it's carelessly done or it's accidentally done.
No.
It's not. It is done deliberately.
Yeah.
It is done with a deliberate attempt to erase many of the things that a lot of people, like you said, not necessarily are ultra religious about it, but you know, it's part of our kind of cultural traditions.
Cultural thing.
And do you know what? Every time somebody says our tradition, I always imagine it in Northern Irish accent. This is our tradition, and you will not inflict your tradition on our tradition.
It's one of those phrases with a Northern accent. You have to be really careful how you say it because it can come out as gobbledygook.
Hang on, right. The woke rabbit is going to talk about gesture eggs, and everyone was told not to open theirs.
I didn't.
Lois opened hers. Right. Woke rabbit, explain the gesture egg thing.
I laid these just for you, and within each egg,
No bunnies don't lay eggs.
within each egg is my gesture to you guys. So open up.
Nothing.
Oh,
I got a hot cross bun.
Hey.
there you go.
Got nothing.
Happy Easter.
Oh, I've done really well then. So did I win?
Yeah.
I think Lois makes a good point, is how quickly Cadbury's went, whoa, this wasn't us.
Yeah.
And I think they suddenly started to realise that, like, whilst they do generate a lot of publicity, a lot of this publicity seems to be in the negative. So the one I use as the example is this St. George's Cross thing on the England football shirt.
Oh, my God.
The backlash to that, even from people like myself who don't care about football at all, I've gone to the point of saying, well, why are you doing this? It doesn't make any sense to do it. And now you feel like you're doing it because you should do it. And that's now having the opposite effect.
Do you know, last Christmas, I bought myself some aftershave from quite a nice shop. And it said, we have a free gift service where you can write a card. And the card I dictated was this. Dear Andre, I hate you. And I want a divorce. By the way, Stephen isn't even yours. I did it with your dad New Year's Eve 1990. From Sarah. And they delivered it. Delivered it.
Brilliant. Oh,
They
I
must
love
have thought, they must have gone, oh my. And when the delivery bloke came with it, it's absolutely shitty. Anyway, have Cadbury's been accused of going woke and trying to abolish Easter? Is it true or is it false?
It's True. Of course it's true. This is UK 2024.
It's absolutely true. Peter.
Hello.
Country file.
True.
Oh, no.
I feel like I'm getting all the easy ones.
Peter, the University of Bristol.
True.
Peter, Sadiq Khan.
True.
Okay, great, there we go. Pete, final one.
Okay,
Keir Starmer.
True.
Okay, right. So this is going to be a relatively easy question. Country File on the BBC has claimed that fish and chips are racist.
Oh, my God.
Is it true or is it false?
Oh, well, actually, I think this one might be false, to be fair, to give Country File a little
Could
bit
this
of
be the
credit.
first BBC
This might be the
false
first
one?
Yeah, I think
BBC
it might
show
be.
in a long time where this is actually false. But it wouldn't surprise me because, you know, Country File, it was kind of something of a staple in my house growing up. As soon as on a Sunday,
quite cosy,
It was quite a
wasn't it?
cosy kind of
Yeah.
program. It was also kind of knew that was kind of nearly time to go to bed. But
Antiques Roadshow
Antiques
as
Roadshow
well,
was another
yeah.
one.
No spitting image.
Yeah,
if it was
I'm
later.
not that old, Andre. Despite looking like this, I'm not that old. But no, in all seriousness, my problem with a lot of things that Country File have done is that they have gone down this very woke agenda. So, for example, they've been pushing this the countryside is racist narrative for quite some time, and you know, I suddenly wonder, who is this show really appealing to anymore? Because obviously we know that the number of people watching broadcast TV is declining. The number of people watching the BBC is declining.
They did claim that the countryside was
Racist,
racist,
yeah.
but have they claimed that fish and chips is
You know,
also racist?
I've got to give a little bit of credit to Country File. I don't think they've gone that much of a lunatic yet, so I'm going to say this one's false.
It is absolutely false! And the last question is to Pearl. Get your vodka. No, that is water. Don't worry, we're only joking. Okay, Pearl.
Are you lying to the viewers?
Caitlyn Jenner has said that trans women should be banned from women's sports. Is it true or is it false?
It's true. It's true. But, you know, what I don't like about Caitlyn, and I said this earlier.
we were talking
about this earlier, is, you know, when it came to her, she accepted every single award they gave her. She started this whole mess. The first time I heard about the trans stuff, I was in college, I was 18, and I heard about Caitlyn Jenner winning the Courage Award.
Yeah.
So he, whatever, really started this whole entire trend.
Has Caitlyn Jenner said that trans women should be banned from women's sports? Is it true or false?
True. That's true.
It's absolutely true! Okay, so who is the winner?
Pete this week is on 500 points.
Whoa!
Oh.
Pearl is on minus a trillion. And Lois has won today's episode. She won a bonus 1 million feminist points.
That's embarrassing.
Okay, so now let's get the hot cross buns and you can...
Oh,
Come on!